Next step is to create a form. It'll be another object in the database file. Forms in databases are used for entering data. Data entry in a large table is difficult, especially if there are millions of entries there. So a form is a natural helper, a good solution to help the data entry personnel deal with large tables. At the same time, the form should be looked at as a user interface. So in a moment we're going to create a very simple user interface which will allow us to create new entries in this table without actually clicking on the table itself. So forms are created with a command which is listed under the Create tab. We're going into the Create tab where we are given a variety of options. We'll just click on the form which designs itself automatically, so to say. Okay, now we have it. We can save it. We're going to be given this option, which is self-explanatory. Owner's table will be associated with owner's form. We click OK. We now see two objects in our database file. So it's good practice to save it. Okay, I had to resize the sheet because we are going to need to read the tooltip, which wouldn't be seen otherwise. I'm not sure it's still seen very well. Let me pull it up a little bit. Okay, I think this is now legible. A little more. Okay, I hope it's going to be seen in the produced video. Okay, Betty Brown is the first entry in the owner's table. You can see it here. And Martha Schwartz is the last entry. So one of the things we try here to see how the form works, next record brings the next person in the table, and last record will bring the last person listed in the table. Now for a new person we need a blank record, and now we can enter our name here. Let's save it. Close it. Now that the owner's table is closed, you need to switch to form view, and then once again check if we're on the last entry, then create a new entry and enter any number you'd like. Let's see, 45781 for the driver's license. Owner's name, let's see, Zachman, just to make sure the new driver is at the end of the list. City, let's make it Bartlett. Tennessee, and zip code, I forget which one this is. I think it's 020, something like this. It doesn't matter. And the score, Zach scored fairly highly, 94. Okay, so just by clicking next record, this will create the new record in the table. And we check it by double clicking on the table, and now we have the new driver here. I should have added a couple more digits. So to make sure, I'm going to save it, close it. This is, yeah. Okay. Add yourself as an owner. I did not put my last name there, but you understand what needed to be done. Okay. Close the form and save it. We have done this. No, not yet. Need to save it and close it. Okay. So we are now finished with part 3. Okay, part 4 can fit here because it's not a very difficult part. What's important in part 4 is to remember how we make sure the path to a file we need, path to the file we need is correct. So I'm going to open the file and read the path off of its properties. And this is the file in question. I like repeating all the time, you always have to examine your data. Always need to make sure that you know the columns in your table. Obviously this is a spreadsheet. The table here does have a column which is exactly the same column as in the database file. Okay, and it's already marked FK, foreign key, because it corresponds to the primary key of the database column. Also, the path to it can be found under Properties. You simply highlight the location and grab the C, it should be included, and copy it. Right click and copy. Now the path to the spreadsheet file, which we need to import into the database file, is in the clipboard now. So we have to go back to Access and bring in external data. This is the tab which we use. Not a contextual tab, it's always available. Click on Excel. The button Excel already knows what we're trying to accomplish. So the file name will be found after we paste the path to the file. This is given to Access, and it now opens the only Excel file in that path, which is autos. Okay, just click OK. The next step is to import the source data into a new table, so the database will now add another table to this file. So the data import procedure begins when we click OK. Not a fast operation. Okay. Access knows to ask how many worksheets we need to work with. Well, there's only one worksheet we know in this Excel table, so it's only showing the auto. Next step, it knows to ask if the first row contains column headings. We have to say yes, because that's what we want. We need this, first of all, to be able to have the table designed properly, and second, to relate the foreign key to the primary key we assigned in previous steps. Clicking on Next. Now it's asking questions we've already seen under the design view for the previous table, owners. Do we need to index it now? No, we do not. Type of data, we discussed data types when we talked about Excel data types. We'll just leave it as text. Clicking on Next. Okay, let Access add primary key. It makes sense to make VIN numbers primary keys. So we're going to do that here. Just selected this column. And the name will remain the same. The name assigned to the autos table by Access will remain exactly the same. It's descriptive and it makes sense. So we click Finish. It's asking if we want to save these steps. Normally you'd say yes, because you do it a lot. If you do it a lot, you need to speed up the process, but we don't need this for this particular exercise. Okay, we click on save here. Now we have two tables. This is a table and this is another table, the first one and the imported one. So let's look at this newly imported table. We go into the datasheet view. We have 20 autos listed there. Okay. So let's try to enlarge the text a little bit, make it more readable. And I believe that was 16, something like this. Okay. So double clicking the fields will make the data fit the field. Okay. So once again we're looking at the foreign key here. Notice that owner DL foreign key is already marked as foreign key. It will correspond to the primary key in the owners table. Now we'll perform a small design task on this new table. We'll go into the design view, and we discussed this in class. VIN numbers are nowadays longer than 7 digits, but this exercise calls for just a 7-character field. So here in field properties, we clicked on VIN. This is the primary key, as you can see. You can see this tiny golden key showing there. And instead of taking up 255 characters, we just give it 7. Need to save it. Need to save data here, which we just did. And then we'll switch back to sheet view in a minute. Okay. So we already saw this is a warning here that data may be lost if the field is shortened. If we try to enter 255 character word into a 7-character field, we definitely will lose data, but it's not going to happen because our VIN numbers are limited by 7 digits. So we can now close the table. Actually, should have gone back to datasheet view. Okay. Look at it and close it. Okay, now we have 2 tables and a form in our database. So we are finished with part 4. We'll do part 5 in the next video.